Bitcoiners, pre-coiners, no coiners, new coiners, and of course, Swan Force members, welcome to Swan Lounge, a weekly show in which you get to hang out with the Swan team and some of our friends from the incredibly exciting world of Bitcoin. Now, before we dive in, as always, we are giving away Jan Pritzker's book, Inventing Bitcoin, for free in an effort to spread Bitcoin knowledge. You can go to swanbitcoin.com/free book to claim your copy. We have it in 3 different ebook formats and MP3 read by our friend Guy Swan over at Bitcoin Audible. All we ask is that you pay it forward by sharing the book with at least 3 friends and family, preferably more. You know, you can even go online, you can buy the book, you can put it in your friend's mailbox. Don't even tell them. It's great stocking stuffer also. Just get out there and share Bitcoin with as many people as you can. We also have the book available en español y puede descargar su copia en www.swanbitcoin.com/libro gratis. Nailed it that time. Even more exciting, we are also giving away Gigi's incredible book, 21 Lessons. If you haven't read it yet, it is a must-read. It is one of my absolute favorites. Gigi basically distilled everything he learned going down the rabbit hole and put it into a nice, short, easy book for you to read. Go to swanbitcoin.com/21 lessons. That's the 21 lessons to get your copy. Remember, all these links are available in the description below, so make sure to check them out. As always, I got to ask, are you signed up for Swan Force yet? Because if you're not, I'm not angry. You know what I'm going to say. I'm just disappointed. I'm very disappointed. All right. Swan Force is our amazing referral program where you can get paid in Bitcoin to recruit new Bitcoiners. Sign up at swanbitcoin.com/enlist to get started. You'll earn 25% of Swan's fees on their purchases for an entire year. And your referral will get $10 of free Bitcoin when they open an account with Swan. It's easy. Go do it. You're already going out there. You're already orange pilling your friends and family. Why not get paid to do it? And why not help your friends get $10 of Bitcoin when they sign up? I'd also like to welcome anyone who is new to the show and new to Swan Bitcoin. What is Swan Bitcoin? Quite simply, Swan Bitcoin is the best way to accumulate Bitcoin with automatic recurring buys, with instant buys, with wires up to $10 million. We have some of the lowest fees in the industry for automatic dollar cost averaging. What is dollar cost averaging? Dollar cost averaging is where you buy a specific amount of Bitcoin over a specific time period. So you might buy $100 a week, you might buy $100 a month, you might buy $100 a day, you might buy less or more. Basically, it allows you to dampen your exposure to volatility. Bitcoin is undergoing a process of monetization, as we like to say. So, it can be volatile, though it tends to be volatile towards the upside. If you're new to the show and to Swan, you've come to the right place, folks. You really have. I'm so excited for this show. I'm excited to kick it with my friends today and introduce you to the world of Bitcoin in Latin America, if you're unfamiliar with it. Before we move on, a few more housekeeping items. What do we got? For all the whales watching the show, yes, I see you over there, lounging in the deeps of the ocean, Mr. Whale. You should know that we have Swan Private available as well. You can visit swanbitcoin.com/private and let us help you on your journey. Swan Private guides corporations and high net worth individuals towards building generational wealth with Bitcoin. But a little secret, Bitcoin helps everyone build generational wealth, so you should buy some Bitcoin. Even more exciting, we will be launching Swan Advisor Services this fall. This new platform will offer Bitcoin buying and custodial services for registered investment advisors. Okay, maybe that's not that exciting for all you regular sat stackers out there, but if you know any registered investment advisors, send them our way. Now, before I bring in our guests, one last thing, you know what I'm going to say. Please hit that like button and hit subscribe. Doing so helps us get seen on YouTube and helps us grow the show so we can reach more people and help them see why Bitcoin is so special. Now, today, as I mentioned, we have got some very special guests. I'm very excited to introduce them to you. We have Lucas de C. Ferreira. He's going to correct me on the pronunciation. He's an evangelist over at Lightning Labs. He's from Sao Paulo, Brazil. We've got Javier Bastardo, founder of Satoshi in Venezuela, in Caracas, and a Swan as well. We might be joined by Yehudi Castro Sierra, the Vice Minister of Digital Economy in Colombia. He's on a tight time schedule, but I'm hoping he pops in a little bit later. And of course, our community manager and our Swan Force freedom fighter, Camila Campton. Give me half a second. I'm going to unmute everybody and bring them in, and then we are going to have possibly the most epic conversation about Bitcoin that you've ever witnessed. Okay, I just built up your hopes way too much.
Yeah, bar is higher.
Hey. What's going on, everybody? How you doing on this fine Friday?
This feels like a family reunion right now for some reason. It's really cool.
And I'm like the the gringo who doesn't speak Spanish well, and you make fun of me when I'm not in the room, but it's okay. It's okay. Actually, not everyone here is a Spanish speaker. Oh no, wait. Yeah, Lucas, you speak Spanish. It's just not your first language.
Yeah. I don't speak perfect Spanish. I'm more like you.
Don't worry. Javier's from Venezuela, which means they don't speak perfect Spanish either. Sorry, buddy.
Maybe if I'm from Chile, that they talk a really weird Spanish, but in Venezuela we talk a good Spanish.
Everyone's Spanish is the best. Actually, all right. Nah, let's not talk about people who aren't in the room. Okay, everyone has nice Spanish, except for the Spaniards. Except for them, and they're stuck up thetas and all that stuff.
Exactly. We can't talk about whose Spanish is better, and we can't talk about arepas. Those are the two rules for this episode.
But can we talk about that amazing Brazilian cheesy bread that I love so much?
Oh, yes, that we can talk about.
That stuff is the best. Okay, it is like
tapiocas.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have amazing food.
I get them frozen at Costco sometimes. I just keep them in the freezer, pop a few in the oven late at night. Oof, nothing better. Were we supposed to talk about Bitcoin? What are we here to talk about?
It all ties
right? That's why I'm here.
Why don't we go around the horn a little bit, do some basic intros. Lucas, you were working at Paxful before, right? And now you're at Lightning Labs. So give us the story there and tell us what you've been up to.
Yeah, okay. I started my career started already working in crypto. I'm saying crypto because I was not working in a Bitcoin only company before. I started working for Repute, which is an Argentinian exchange. They were expanding to Brazil, and I was one of their first employees. Then I spent 2 years there and joined Paxful. I spent almost a year there, and now I'm at Lightning Labs as a Lightning evangelist, doing BD and community management.
I love that. Well, tell us about the evangelism. What are you working on, and what does a Lightning evangelist do?
Okay, yeah, Lightning Labs is a, you could say, BTD company, business to developer. So some people ask me, are you directly involved in El Salvador, doing stuff there out on the ground? And we are not. We're not directly involved because you could say we are directly involved, but we are not involved with the end person that is using Lightning. We are usually helping the companies and the projects that are building on Lightning, and then they are going to reach billions of people for us. Billions of people to bring billions of people to Bitcoin.
Got it. And you are running a node, I assume. Yes. Why haven't you opened the channel to me? I'm very offended. I'm very offended, Lucas. I thought we were friends, but we'll talk about that later. Javier, you want to give us a little, I think everybody here knows who you are, but maybe introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're up to with maybe Satoshi in Venezuela, and then we'll move on to Camila, and then we'll dive into the real meat of the conversation.
Nice. Well, I'm Javier Bastardo. I'm talking with you from Caracas, Venezuela. I'm been working in the industry since 2017 when I started being a journalist. Right now, I'm doing mainly things with Swan and also with Satoshi in Venezuela. That is an educational project here in Venezuela. And well, we are working toward Bitcoin education through this YouTube format, but also sharing some knowledge that is already wrote in English. We are translated it to Spanish, so people in our region could be exposed to it more easy. That's what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. And welcome to the show. Do you go by Yehudi, or what should we call you?
That's good. How is it going?
It's going great. We're happy to have you here and excited to be talking Bitcoin. We were just kind of going around doing intros. So I don't know if you know everyone, but to my right, to my left, your right, I don't know. Anyway, Her right there. That's Camila. She works over at Swan, one of our community manager. We've got Lucas from Lightning Labs here. We've got Javier Bastardo from Satoshi in Venezuela. All diehard Bitcoiners. And it would be great if you could actually introduce yourself to the audience real quick, and then we can kind of dive into the conversation. And I know your time is limited, so if you have a time constraint, let us know, and we can kind of work around it.
It's fine. It's fine. We will find a way. So Joey Castro, J Castro's on Twitter, and they have Bitcoiner also, I will say. I have like a technical background, and that's how I got to know like Bitcoin. Also used to work for the government like full time, first as vice minister. That was like 3 years ago. Then as advisor to the president, and that was full-time position. And now I'm in the private sector in a startup here called La House that is soon to become a Bitcoin company. You will see, and it's soon to become also an unicorn here in Colombia. I'm pretty sure. So that's all good. And I do like Bitcoin very much. I also have a note, so please open a channel with me.
There you go, Brekkie.
We're going to make it happen. Don't worry. I was just shaming Lucas because Lucas hasn't opened one to me either, but we're going to fix that. We'll make it happen.
Nice.
It's because like, I'm a newbie and you're a pro. I would like mess up your channel management and your.
I mean, I haven't been doing it that long, and I have taken the approach of I call it the lazy approach. I don't really do rebalancing my channels very often. I kind of I'll adjust my fees and I'll let the channels kind of do their own thing, you know. But doing my best.
Is it really the beginner approach? I would say if you're managing fees instead of rebalancing all the time, you're actually pretty advanced.
Well, I guess semi-advanced. I'll adjust my fees, but I don't really do circular rebalancing too often. It's just too much of a pain in the ass, basically. But let's talk Bitcoin in Latin America. So we're all from different places. I'm not from Latin America, pero en mi corazón soy Latino. And I think everything that we talk about kind of has to be set against the stage of what's happened in El Salvador. You know, as we all know, El Salvador has made Bitcoin legal tender. They've started mining using geothermal energy. There's going to be a big Lightning conference coming up. I know a couple of us will be going to. It's still very much, you know, the experimental phase, but exciting nonetheless. You know, and especially with what's happened down at Bitcoin Beach. And you know, I was lucky enough to go down there and check it out. And you know, for anyone who doesn't know what Bitcoin Beach is, it's basically a community that sprung up. Well, it was always there, but basically a bunch of people in the community started pushing Bitcoin and educating people about Bitcoin. And they have a circular economy of sorts where people are actually using Bitcoin. And when I went there, I went to buy some pupusas, and in walks a group of kids who are 10, 12 years old. They pull out their smartphone. They use Lightning to buy cornmeal to take home to their parents. And it was, you know, it's incredible to see. So it is really happening, despite what some people might be saying, you know, or the pushback in certain areas of the country, but it's happening. So against that sort of backdrop, the reason I wanted to do the show is because I wanted to hear what's going on in other places in Latin America where Bitcoin might be happening sooner than later. So why don't we talk a bit about Colombia? What I'd love to know, and Camila and Yehudi, you can both provide, you know, some color to this, is, you know, first, you know, how is Bitcoin perceived in Colombia? I'd love to kind of understand how, you know, politicians see it, how regular people see it. You know, when someone says Bitcoin in on the streets of Medellin, like, what's the reaction? Yehudi, why don't we go to you first?
Cool. So it's pretty well known, I would say. So in local Bitcoins, if you see the volume of peer-to-peer transactions, Colombia is like number 3. And so there is a lot of interest on Bitcoin. Regarding the politicians, you see like everything. You will find people that doesn't know what it is, people that use it for political reasons without understanding it, or not even Bitcoin. They just throw the name crypto. And some of the people of the community like fall on this trap. That we cannot speak more on that because I saw the tweet that Camila wrote, and I agree. Um, and but the regulatory aspect that maybe is the most important and the one I have been involved and I is still involved because I'm still like in the evaluator committee of that sandbox, is the one like sending the correct signals, in my opinion. While some countries last year were banning Bitcoin, like a lot of troubles in India, you saw in Turkey, also in Nigeria. Colombia took the decision of creating a sandbox. What is a sandbox? It's like a control environment for regulatory innovation. So there are no decisions about this is forbidden or this is amazing. Just let the innovation happen. Let these companies come and work together with the company, with the government, in order to make, if it makes sense, like the changes in the regulations that allows the people. Because again, I come back to this data about peer-to-peer transaction. There is a lot of interest of the people. So there is the need or the pain, if you want to say it that way. And yes, you see it on social media, you see it everywhere. And thanks to a sandbox, this is also becoming like mainstream in the traditional media. You can see on the news that they are speaking about this, what it means, and so on and so forth. That's like my first reaction to the topic.
I'm wondering also, I don't know if you can speak to this, but when El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender, what was the reaction among politicians and among the political community? Were they paying attention? Did they see it as something serious, or and sort of what is what's the current state of legislation among politicians? Like, is anyone trying to make a similar push in a real credible way?
There is no a lot of attention. I mean, yeah, because I am like in the ecosystem, I of course knew about it, but like your random politician that I'm not considered to be one of them, they know, or probably still doesn't know. With the time, maybe they are getting more interested, because one interesting fact, and is that Colombian banks own more than 60% of the banks in El Salvador. And they need to transact in Bitcoin now. So they are raising questions to the central bank, to a regulator, to everyone about this topic. So these banks already were like in the sandbox, so they had some interest, but now they must like get into the topic. So the reaction by politicians, they don't understand it very well, to be honest.
So there's a possible like side effect of El Salvador in Colombia, because all these banks in
Huge.
Colombia, they already need
Because of the banks and also the airline, for instance, Avianca. They now need to receive Bitcoins, so they are asking these kind of questions, and probably most importantly, the banks. They are the biggest banks in El Salvador.
Yeah, if they already built the infrastructure for doing that in El Salvador, they can just like
And they are going to see that it works. That's my hope.
It's really interesting to consider the sort of spillover effects. I when we first heard about El Salvador, I didn't really think about that, and now I get to laugh about the fact that Tesla in El Salvador has to accept Bitcoin, right? And everyone's buying coffee at McDonald's with Lightning. It's pretty incredible to see. So we'll see what happens. Why don't we move on a bit to Venezuela, because Javier looks bored. Javier, are you bored? Are you sick and tired of talking about Bitcoin?
I'm not
are you
bored.
going to become a Dash maximalist now? Is that what's happening?
No, I'm not bored. I'm sharing the conversation on Twitter, trying to get people to join us. I think that Venezuela is pretty linked to what is happening in Colombia, since our economy is destroyed, as you may know. And many of our migrants flee to Colombia. We have a deep economical relation that it is historical, but the depreciation of the bolivar have made that Colombians find not that useful to come to Venezuela, but the Venezuelans going there and working there and sending money to their families are connecting really deep our economies. And I think that the other thing that I find curious between our two countries is that many of the uh, like Ponzi schemes or the things that are open scams that are trying to steal people's money are more popular there than they are here, and they may start working here but then move to Colombia or vice versa, that we have this kind of relationship sharing these other problems that are linked to all the Bitcoin stuff, because these scams are trying to talk about Bitcoin as if they are Bitcoin related, but it is just a fake. And in the Colombian case in particular, I think that the dollarization have made the Bitcoin adoption gets lower, and we are not seeing things like the sandbox that Yehudi mentioned, nor any kind of thing like that. And we also have this pseudo shitcoin that is it is not even a shitcoin, it is a pseudo thing. And the approach is totally different. And as we are talking with Camila in the Bitcoin en Español show that we have with other Bitcoiners around the region, I think that the approach in Colombia is really particular. We discussed it with people from Chile. We had Lucas to talk about Brazil, and people from El Salvador and from other countries. And you see that this is a really particular scenario happening right now in Colombia. So in Venezuela, I think that our main moment, like when I knew Brekkie, we were the very popular meme. Venezuela like will be fixed by beat and stuff like that. I think that that moment just passed, and the narrative is obviously around El Salvador, but all the countries in the region are trying to figure it out how to connect to this new thing that is happening. And Colombia is doing very interesting work right now. In Venezuela, well, we are still using Bitcoin. I'm a Bitcoin maximalist myself, but I think that the dollarization have made the people going more to use stable coins. I think that Tether is a big winner right now in the country. Tether use it through Binance, that is full custody, and people is not holding any kind of keys. But what is what we have right now.
Yeah, I used to work for an Argentine exchange, as I said, and there in Argentina, I believe there's a lot of traction for stablecoins too. Although there, I think they also have a lot of DAI because MakerDAO team is there, and USDC because exchanges there are pushing that. But I'm not sure about Tether, but stablecoins are huge there in Argentina.
It is interesting to see. I mean, what's a little disappointing to me is the fact that, you know, even in a country like Buenos Aires, Argentina, where, you know, they've experienced massive inflation before and they're rarely primed for Bitcoin, you'd think that folks would want to hold their own keys, that custody would be something that just makes sense. And maybe for some people it does, but, you know, I think we need... Javier, I think what we really need is a Satoshi in Medellin, a Satoshi in Buenos Aires, a Satoshi in Sao Paulo. I think you need to expand, my friend. Okay, your organization has done really well, and now it's time to spread the wings and expand across all of South America. All right.
Well, this is why the education aspect is so important, and one of the reasons why we started our show Bitcoin en Español is because we have to be able to have more of these conversations. Obviously, with what happened with El Salvador has been a big push to kind of see what is going on, but there still needs to be so much work done in terms of educating people and just like the normal day-to-day citizen about what this is and what it could be. So it's a huge journey ahead for sure.
Yeah, I see Javier Bolívar in the comments, and this week on Wednesday we did a Lightning Labs Twitter Spaces about running a node in español. Entonces, yeah, that's what we're trying to do, like educate people about Bitcoin all over Latin America.
It's really nice to see, especially the lightning push that's happening. Before I do want to kind of dive into lightning, but I think it's important to also talk about sort of, I don't know how do I describe this, differentiating truth from fiction when it comes to Bitcoin and politics and things like that. And the main example that I kind of want to bring up is what's happening in Brazil right now. So I'm going to bring up a tweet from Lucas from the other day, because the other day, a bunch of accounts on Twitter were saying, oh, look, Brazil is making Bitcoin legal tender. This is so exciting. And I've learned not to trust Twitter. And so immediately I sent a message to Lucas. I said, Lucas, is this bullshit? He said, yep.
Yeah.
So
I think, like, especially when it comes to Latin America, maybe not especially. Maybe that's just because we're here and we know when it's bullshit. I talk about it with Javier too, like a lot of bullshit about Venezuela all the time too. I don't know, like, can't you just like do what Brekkie did, like call a friend and call a Brazilian friend, and is it bullshit or is it something I can share, or or check with some journalists in Brazil? There was this fake news spreading up, like about this bill proposal in Brazil. This bill proposal by Audio Ribeiro. It started like the draft started in 2015, so it's an old law that he started. And in the beginning, it was like a really messy law, like comparing cryptocurrencies with how can you say that, like flying programs, like the when you
en español o en portugués.
No, the miles programs, like the
okay.
miles, like
Point
so
systems.
it was point systems. It was putting all this stuff in the same bucket. It was a really fight from our community and exchanges for this law not to be the worst thing for Brazil. And like in the speech, like from Audio Ribeiro, it really feels like he's really proposing something more similar to what El Salvador is proposed. But like, talk is cheap, no? You need to look at what he wrote in the law, and like Audio did a great job in like knowing exactly how what to say and to feel like he's an ally, but he's not. And like he's saying like, oh, now Bitcoin, now you can buy McDonald's and blah 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 with Bitcoin. You could already, like, it's not something that was forbidden. Like, I think Brazil, as maybe most democracies, what is not illegal is legal. So there weren't any laws forbidding Bitcoin or using Bitcoin to pay for stuff. So if people are willing to accept Bitcoin for payments, you would be able to pay for those stuff anyway. And if you look at the law, there's no like no mention of legal tender. Like that was never even in the discussions, and not even like commerce, or that's not in the law. If you look at the law, what's doing is making exchanges exchanges will need a license. They will need to be regulated by someone in the government. So it's almost like New York license is approved, and then journalists in Latin America say, "Oh, now Bitcoin is legal tender in New York." No, nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with legal tender. And it's also another thing the law is doing is if you're doing money laundering or pyramid schemes with crypto. By the way, Bitcoin is not even mentioned in the law. It's always crypto assets or crypto crypto tokens. Bitcoin is not even mentioned.
I don't
So-
know what those are, to be honest. Anyway,
What?
go on.
Yeah, I don't know what those are. Yeah. So it's also like if you're doing money laundering or pyramid schemes with crypto assets, your punishment will be bigger than normal pyramid schemes. That doesn't even make sense. Like if you're doing pyramid schemes, that's bad. If you're doing money laundering, that's bad, and not because you're using crypto. And so the punishment shouldn't be worse if you're using crypto. So I don't see a lot of like this thing like exchanges needing to get a license and registering. It's just more of a bureaucracy for them. So I don't see a lot of benefits of this law, and for sure, nothing even close to Brazil making Bitcoin legal tender.
Got it. So I actually forgot. There's something else about Colombia what we wanted to touch on, but before we do that, I'm just like moving us back and forth in this conversation. Lucas, can you share a bit like what is the Bitcoiner community like down in Brazil? I mean, how did you find Bitcoin there? And is it comparable to anywhere else like the US, or what are your general kind of takeaways?
Yeah, I think it's comparable with US in the sense that we have a lot more people on it because just speculating than really people understanding it. Although we had also hyperinflation in the past, I think we forgot. It was in the 80s, 90s, so we forgot about it.
Memories. Yeah.
Yeah. And although our currency currently is not the best, like it's not great, but compared with Argentina, Venezuela, and some other countries in Latin America, it's kind of a stable currency. So, for example, when after COVID and all those things, like we had one of the biggest devaluations compared to the rest of the world. But people here don't understand that, oh, this is inflation or people printing money, or no. It's just like, or either because of COVID or because some temporary political instability, but that will come back later. Like we'll have a currency that won't devaluate all forever. So like, people don't have this understanding of how fiat currencies actually work.
I've noticed.
Yeah. So we have a lot of speculators. Like if we go like to Bitcoin as an investment, you could even say like yesterday or today, I don't remember, our central bank president was in the BIS, like the Bank of International Settlement, saying like Bitcoin Brazil, if it is to be regulated, it's more like for investment and not for being a currency or something like that. So it's perceived more as an investment. We have like ETFs in Brazil. We can buy Bitcoin in the traditional stock market, like the traditional stock exchange. We have a lot of exchanges, but people are also trying to buy shitcoins and trying to get rich and trying to find the next Bitcoin and all those things that happen everywhere. And we also have a lot of pyramid schemes. Like here in Brazil, we had a history of people putting money in a lot of Ponzi schemes that allegedly were investing in Bitcoin. So yeah, not really close to a country that is going to make Bitcoin legal tender or have Bitcoin daily.
Damn it, Lucas. Okay, you need to get into politics. You need to run for president. Same with Javier. Okay, Javier for president of Venezuela, and we can make this happen. All right, guys.
I think Brekkie wanted us to come here to be like, yes, Brekkie, all Latin America is on board. They're going to all make Bitcoin.
I mean, of course I wanted that, but I knew I was realistic. I knew it wasn't going to happen. But, baby steps, okay? I could – hold on. I want to put myself on the Brazilian – what is it, a real? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to something more fun, or at least I think it's fun. Camila, can you tell us about your little tweet storm while I queue up some waterfalls in the background? And let's talk about mining with waterfalls, how that might work, and if it's just a pipe dream or not. Let me find that tweet of yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was just funny because same thing what happened with the Brazilian news it's kind of a headline that started to pick up, and then you have Bitcoin being like, oh yes, this is awesome, but then it's like, wait, we actually have to take a step back, actually read the article, and not just believe a sensational headline. And so I was just pretty much saying that I'm super intrigued by this because of the whole political aspect. And we know how politicians are. They're very smart, and especially when they're trying to campaign. So they're trying to figure out all these buzzwords that are going to help kind of get attention into whatever campaign they're trying to run. So this guy is a current senator in Colombia, and he's actually running for the presidential election next year. And so he's basically just starting to use terms cryptocurrency in his language and just trying to take a very, I think, lazy approach and just seeing what's happening with El Salvador and trying to see like, oh, how can I use what's going on over there to kind of pick up popularity here? So it was just me being like, this is interesting. It's just funny how politicians are going to start using the buzzword Bitcoin, because that's actually what it's going to become, not only in Colombia, but we see it here in the United States as well. Just politicians starting to pick up these buzzwords and trying to talk about it like, yes, they know about it. Yes, I can make a great change with Bitcoin, but then it's like we have to take a step back and actually look at their political agenda and if it even aligns with what they're trying to do.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about this, though, because I think it's a common thing for politicians to use whatever they have at their disposal to continue being politicians, right? And El Salvador is kind of interesting because it seems like a president has actually given up some power for the benefit of his people in some ways, right? You know, that's kind of what happens when you embrace Bitcoin. You have to kind of give yourself over to it and trust that, you know, this system of rules and not rulers will actually benefit you and your people. So I wonder, you know, could this happen with other politicians? Will other politicians kind of fall into this trap, if you will? You know, it's almost a trap. It's a trap of, I don't know, a positive trap. You know, it's a trap that ends up with, you know, people benefiting. So how do we get to politicians? How do we convince them that Bitcoin is where they should actually focus their attention, and that, you know, giving up some of their power to something like Bitcoin is actually a good thing? Is that another of one of my wishful thinking pipe dreams, or is that something that we can, you know, we can actually do by lobbying politicians, by educating them, by, I don't know, maybe we have to wait and wait 5 years for El Salvador to become Wakanda, and then you know, then other politicians will say, oh, maybe I should do that. I don't know.
Let me give you my opinion on that, on what Camila just mentioned. This is happening. This is going to still happen because the community is failing for it. And we need education on this. Don't get so excited because someone mentioned, no, even Bitcoin, that was crypto. The thing with the waterfall, that was ridiculous. And you just with a 3 minute research, you see that the main proposal of the guy the last year has been that the government must print to get out of the COVID crisis. So that's exactly the opposite of the Bitcoin mindset. So if he really wants to do something with crypto, not Bitcoin, because he mentioned that is something that he can control and print, like the petro in Venezuela. I will not be surprised. By the way, that's the name of the guy, so that would be very on brand. And
His
the
name
guy,
is Petro?
yes,
His
yes.
name is Petro, yeah.
And the guy was economical advisor of Chávez. So come on, guys, we can. And this is not for the people hearing this, but on Twitter you saw some of our excitement. I actually was talking with Alex Glanstein, and he's so interested in human rights. So come on, don't get on the side on the Chavista guy. That doesn't make any sense, and don't believe that he's going to get into Bitcoin without reading the article. If we are more rigorous with this, we don't give the incentive to them to behave like this. I think that the bill in Paraguay was something similar. Uh, so um, the way to actually do it, I think politicians don't care about Bitcoin. I think because it's Bitcoin. But if they start seeing like the benefit, like for instance, the case in El Salvador with remittances, 26% of the GDP is remittances, and they take a cut, like the Western unions of the world. That's something that they can hear, and it's there like start small. This is something that happened in El Salvador. Actually, the project was a success, a very small project before the politicians start paying attention. So yeah, that are my two thoughts for this topic.
That was
Yehudi,
good.
we were, you're new to the show, you're new to my radar, and if I'm being honest, I was talking to Camila. I was like, is he a Bitcoiner? What's his deal? And Camila was like, I think he's toxic. I said, really? And you just said my two sats. So well, one of us.
Yeah, I might be a little bit toxic. That's correct.
He's Colombian. It's in our blood, to be a little toxic.
Okay, guys, I need to jump to another meeting, but it was great being here. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us. We'll open up a channel later.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Pull them out. All right. That was fun.
Yeah, it was interesting for sure. And as a Colombian immigrant, it's very easy for me to not be as connected, obviously, as the people that are living in the country and stuff. But when it comes to this Petro guy, this politician, there is a lot of fear right now, because the sentiment is that if this guy gets elected, it's going to be going down the same path as Venezuela. So it's like a very slippery slope. And so, of course, just read into that guy's background and see what we're dealing with. But yeah, I just feel like we have to be very vigilant with like the type of news that we're spreading, because it would be amazing if it was true, right? But we also have to be careful of who we're hyping up and who we're giving the attention to, because they're going to feed off of that power somehow and have influence.
We, as Bitcoiners, we have this habit of kind of doing that, of wanting to say one of us without actually knowing, because it is, it's exciting. Like even the day when, like, one that really stuck out to me was like the day J.K. Rowling like was tweeting about Bitcoin. Everyone just like, ah, but she obviously not a Bitcoiner, and it was unimportant the next day. So we need to do our due diligence as Bitcoiners always.
I think that this already happened with Bukele when he jumped to the Nick space. I was there at the start because Nick was asking for people that knows Spanish, since he wasn't published the law in English yet. And we were commenting on the 7th article that was more polemic, all about the law, and the comments was really incisive and criticizing that point. But after Bukele joined it, the conversation totally changed to something more like, I don't know, like adulante, no sé cómo se diría eso en inglés, como more I don't know, like if you need to convince the politicians to be one of us, like if it's not enough Bitcoin to convince anybody to jump in because it is the right thing to do.
The right thing to do. If only people would just think about what is the right thing to do and do it more often.
Well, there's a lot of pressure with these big guys, right? And when we started having the conversation with the president of El Salvador and stuff, it's like, we just need to keep these people accountable as citizens, like challenge them and stuff. We're in an era where a lot of these politicians are on Twitter, where you can actually send messages, connect with them and challenge them. It's like, okay, you really are talking about Bitcoin. Please tell me more.
He's not a politician, by the way. He's
Oh
not
no,
a
yeah,
pol-
not that guy.
He's the más cool dictador del mundo. Remember?
Right. But that's the thing. It's like we need to realize that we have a lot of power with our voices in this day and age, and we can actually make it very beneficial for us as Bitcoiners to make sure that we keep these people accountable. Like Brady in the Swan Signal Live that he did, he was talking to two politicians and he was hitting them with hard questions where they had to say, I honestly don't know how to answer it. And that's okay, but you're planting a seed in their heads. It's like, you should actually start thinking about this, because this, as Bitcoiners, is what we actually care about and the issues that we're going to be, fighting towards.
Well, it's also hard, not hard, but maybe hard to get across. And I think it's just it's a mental shift that many of us have already had, but people who don't understand Bitcoin haven't quite gotten there yet, is that in a Bitcoinized world, yes, Bitcoin is not abundant. Bitcoin is scarce. But in a world built on that sort of scarcity, we would have abundance. Like your country, like let's say that Bukele is as good as he could possibly be, and he's not a dictator, and he's doing everything he possibly can to be a good president, whatever. Let's just assume that for this hypothetical conversation. El Salvador stands to gain tremendously. The people of El Salvador stand to gain tremendously. It's if you think about it from the POV of the president or from Salvadorans, it's a selfish move, and that's okay. It's almost like this enlightened form of selfishness where by supporting Bitcoin, you're not only just doing well for yourself, but you're doing well for everyone else. And I think for getting people to kind of understand that is difficult, but not undoable, just difficult.
If Bitcoin can just lower the time preference of all the citizens of El Salvador, it's a huge success. Like if you talk to Mike Peterson from Bitcoin Beach, he said that people in El Zonte started lowering their time preference once they started using Bitcoin day to day, because usually they had money in the pockets, cash, and they were using that money, all the money that they were earning. But now that they have Bitcoin, they start realizing, I think Bukele even tweeted about that. If those that were onboarded on the 21th or something already have 35 or I don't know how much percent in profit, with their $30 of Bitcoin.
What is it? Número sube? How do you say number go up in Spanish?
Número sube.
Número sube. That sounds cooler in Spanish, honestly. It really does.
You think so?
Javier's no.
It's
Brekkie,
funny.
stop trying to make English words into Spanish. Just stop,
No,
Brekkie.
We
Have
have
you
a
ever-
section in the show in Spanish to translate the slang, the Bitcoin slang to Spanish, and there are many that sounds awful.
Wait, hold on a second. You have this on the show. Why haven't you? I should be on this show doing really bad translations to make everyone laugh. Okay, that would be hilarious. All right, I'm slightly offended.
Okay, Brekkie. So how would you translate?
I am embarazado that you have not had me on the show yet. Actually,
Embarazado.
okay.
You're pregnant?
What? No, I'm embarrassed.
Brekkie, how would you translate Lightning Network in Spanish?
Oh, I don't know. How do you say lightning in Spanish? Google Translate. Google Translate.
Relámpago.
Yeah, I don't like that word.
Exactly.
I mean, it's fine, but
and Lightning Network is like Red Relámpago. So it doesn't sound as cool as Lightning Network, so we decided to keep it Lightning Network.
Okay. All right. Relámpago. Yeah. I'm going to think about that one. Alrighty, folks. It is Friday. Javier is still bored. And I know he's got some evangelizing to do. He's got some people to teach about Bitcoin. So maybe we can wrap it up unless anyone else wants to dive into any other topics.
No, can we just end with some more? I'm listening to some echo.
Some samba music? Did you say samba? Did I hear samba music?
No. Echo. I'm listening to my voice back. I'm hearing my voice now. Okay, now it's good. just for us to end in a more optimistic way, like, and forget about politicians. Although I said Brazil is more speculation and stuff, I see like a growing community of really Bitcoiners and people using Bitcoin, and also people that were not into Bitcoin, but now they are, because of all this Lightning stuff that are popping up, the games. Like if you go to the Zebedee Twitter and you scroll it a little bit, you're like, is it a Brazilian company? Although they have a lot of Brazilian employees, but because a lot of the retweets are from Brazilians that are playing Counter-Strike Go and earning sats, and now they can pay their bills, like some young people. And also, this week I found out that some guy is trying to start a Bitcoin beach in Brazil, like in Ceará. So he's now like just like trying to convince some merchants and some friends, like 40 or 50 people have Lightning wallets now, and he's running a node and stuff. Like it's starting small, but Bitcoin beach in El Zonte is also starting small with this grassroots bootstrapping. So I think like all these things, like games, and they have a huge potential. Like Brazil has a lot of gamers. It's one of the biggest gaming community in the world. So let's see how this. We were talking about El Salvador, which is like from the top, like adoption. Let's see how from the bottom adoption will be, and that's what makes me more optimistic.
I didn't want to talk about Counter-Strike because I'm so bad at it. So thank you for bringing that up. But no, you're right. I'm so bullish on Bitcoin gaming. It is like, I think it's going to change the world. There are so many gamers. There's so many people who love to game, and like play to earn is just a massive untapped market that I think is going to grow massively over the next couple of years. So super excited about that. If anyone's interested in that, check out Mintgox and Zebedee. I co-host some of their streams every now and then. They're a lot of fun. Go play Counter-Strike. Not against me because you'll win every time, but it's a lot of fun.
I'll probably lose. I'm even worse.
I'm suck. I'm suck at gaming too. But we're launching a bot to do P2P exchange through Lightning, and it is in your Telegram chat, so you can check it. It is in Spanish, so if you are a Spanish English speaker, you can translate it. But it's to finish the episode with more positive thinking. Well, we are trying to build the tools that we find that could be useful, because it is without KYC. We don't have any kind of custody on your funds.
Mhm.
It works using hold invoice, that is a kind of new technology that is in Lightning. So we are just using the tools. You can also join to many different groups. We have a Spanish group, but there are many other Spanish groups talking about Bitcoin and trying to share the knowledge that we are. I mean, like you can talk with about Bitcoin with anybody around there, and if they find it useful, they will find many resources to learn more. It is not any kind of need of convince the politicians. We can build it by ourselves.
Shit, Javier, was this a depressing episode? I thought this was kind of a fun, exciting episode, but you guys are like, oh, let's end on a positive note. Huh.
I think it's just because I feel like we kind of let you down, Brekkie.
You didn't let me down.
But you know,
Okay.
like, yeah, these are the conversations they're really important, and I love conversations like this, because sometimes with Bitcoiners here in America, we're just kind of like, it's happening here and in El Salvador, and that's it, you know. But there's so much with Bitcoin going on all over the world, so it's super exciting to be able to have these type of conversations. And even if we feel like a country is really far from big Bitcoin adoption, is still an amazing opportunity for us to start working towards that and helping people understand Bitcoin. That's like the mission, and we're all doing it in our own way. So I think that's really cool.
Javier, I'm still amazed by what you've done, man. I mean, when did you start Satoshi in Venezuela? 2 years ago? Or is it 3 years ago now?
Yes. No, 2 years ago, we our birthday was the 5th of October.
Mhm.
So we are going to make some things to surprise our community. But I'm really nervous. I want to do in real life meetups. This online thing is really cool, and I'm really grateful to connect with people around the world. But I think that it will have a more important impact in the ground, in at least in Caracas, because I traveled around other cities and it is not as positive as you may think,
Yeah.
but at least in Caracas. So I think that I want to have this thing with the COVID out and going and do meetups, like 10 meetups a week.
10 meetups a week?
Wow.
No, just kidding, but maybe 5, something like
Yeah.
that. Like
Every day.
meeting with the people and trying to share the Bitcoin information that they need. If you are a developer, we can connect you with developers that I already know. And if you are trying to find a work in a Bitcoin company, trying to connect you with something. So in real life, meetups are important. Community building is important in that way.
100%. One day I will come down and I will have the arepas, and then I'll go to Colombia and I'll see that the Venezuelan ones are better. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow. I just have some empanadas, Brekkie, and we'll call it a day. Or a
All right.
bandeja paisa, and then
When are you coming for the punch queijo?
Oof. You know what? I think this sounds like Brekkie's got to do a full South American tour. That's what's got to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe. Oh, you know what I'll do is I'll start down in Tierra del Fuego. I'll get a motorcycle and I'll do like a Brekkie motorcycle diaries. It'll be great. Let's do that. I'll meet Javier and we'll do 5 meetups a day, and it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah, let's do some meetups in Brazil too. I actually started like a project last year to do meetups, but then I just did one and COVID started.
I just thought of a good business idea for Brazil. So you know how the sun is so strong at the beaches, and nobody likes putting on sunscreen. Let's be honest, right? Nobody likes to do that. It's a pain. You get all greasy. You start a business where you accept lightning sats to sunscreen people. Yeah, I'm thinking smart.
Yeah, let's do that.
Anyway, folks, don't do that. But yeah, I don't know. Go out and start your Bitcoin business. But I just want to thank you all for joining us today. It's been a good one. I'm very excited to hear about Javier's 30 meetups a day. It's going to be very difficult. 40 meetups a day? 50? I don't know. Javier, go do your meetups. Check in with us again. Lucas, congratulations again on joining Lightning. Super excited about that. I want to hear more about your Lightning evangelism as time goes by. I expect you to open a channel to me very soon. Otherwise, I will be very embarazado. And Camila, you're awesome. Keep doing what you do.
oh, we
I think
love
that's
you.
all.
Brekkie.
I think that's all I got today. Any closing words, closing thoughts from the peanut gallery?
I don't know if that makes any sense for the rest of Latin America, because I learned with Argentinians, like with porteños. Pero, vámonos, pibe.
Yes. And also for the people,
Yes.
I don't know how to say that in Venezuelan slangs, but I understood it.
Yeah.
Bitcoin connects all the slangs. That's good.
Same.
Camila, did you have something to add or no?
Oh, I just wanted to say an invitation to the people who haven't checked out our Bitcoin in Español show. We have it every single Monday. We have 16 episodes now, Javier, or 17. I lost count. But it's been an
40
amazing
a day.
Yes, it's been an amazing journey just traveling through Latin America, meeting Bitcoiners from all over. So if you want a more extensive conversation of the one we had today on Swan Lounge, you can go check it out in the Swan Signal channel on YouTube.
Javier está diciendo, vamos chamos.
Vamos,
¿Algo
chamos.
así? No sé.
O pana. Vamos panas también podría ser.
En Colombian, vamos parceros.
I think in LA we say orale.
Let's fucking go.
There we go.
There we go. Let's go, Bitcoiners. All right, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Go sign up for Swan. Go sign up for Swan Force. SwanBitcoin.com/enlist. That's all I got. Bye, everybody.